Yani, you guys want to tell me that if I was in the Americas, this cake would have had me 10,000 shillings in my pocket. Please, guys, sign me up for an emergency visa right now because it must be so nice. Hey guys, April has been a month full of scandals, full of drama. I don't even know where to begin. And even the community that barely ever has drama, aka the food community, this month has been caught up in some drama. If you've been living under a rock, that means you don't have TikTok, which you should probably get. Then let me fill you in on this Cakegate scandal. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet Kane. I am a foodie and a food content creator who loves everything about the kitchen and about food. So in case it's your first time seeing me, don't forget to hit that red button so that you don't miss out on food adventures, on recipes every single week. In today's video, I'm going to be filling you in, guys, on the Cakegate scandal that has taken over TikTok. It even made it to the American news, guys.
In West Virginia is under fire over a dispute she had with a dissatisfied customer, now known as Cakegate. Yeah. It all started when the baker posted a video on TikTok blasting the client, who was unhappy after being charged $85 or $84 for a 6-layer rainbow cake that was covered in sprinkles. The customer then posted the actual cake. Then the baker responded, "You guys that have nothing going on with your life and yourself have so much to say about a situation that you don't know the full backstory on."
It was that serious. And it's basically a baker who made a not so great cake and they charged the client $85 for that cake. That's about almost 10,000 Kenya shillings for a 6-layer cake, about 2 kgs of cake. And on top of it not being such a great cake, when the customer gave them some really honest feedback, they decided to go on TikTok and blast the client and say that that was the worst client that they've ever had. And they didn't say the nicest thing about the client. But considering the cake wasn't good and they were overcharged, the client was in the right place to give them feedback. So TikTok did their thing and everybody and their grandmother started making the rainbow cake. It's a rainbow cake. And this story just went off like a storm. And right now, if you search Cakegate on TikTok, you will see the entire drama. So in this video today, what we are going to be doing, following up on the video I did about the things I wish I knew before I started my baking business, I'm going to be actually baking from scratch a rainbow cake. This one right here, isn't she gorgeous? Isn't she beautiful? Mwah, so beautiful. I'm going to be baking this cake from scratch. I'll be costing each ingredient, the time it will take me to make this cake, so that at the end of it we can have an estimate on how much you would need to make such a cake and how much you would price it in Kenya. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't price it 10,000 shillings in Kenya. In case you missed that video, I will link it down below. And I think this video will be very beneficial to a baker who is trying to learn how to create estimates. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's hop into the kitchen, bake this cake, decorate it, and then we'll come back. So for this experiment, I decided to go with the most basic cake recipe. This is a simple vanilla cake and it's a basic cake recipe that calls for ingredients in the ratio of 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 part butter, 2 parts sugar, 3 parts flour, and 4 eggs. Then you'll add 1 cup of milk and 4 to 5 tablespoons of vanilla essence or any flavoring that you might like. I added all this into my stand mixer and mixed just until they were well incorporated. Now because I'm making 6 layers of cakes and I only have 3 baking pans, I decided to do this in 2 different batches. So the recipe that's written at the beginning, I doubled that recipe. For the first part, I divided them into 3 different parts, with each part being for 50 grams. And to each of these, I'll add the 3 colors. I'll add yellow, red, and orange. And these colors ended up being so vibrant. I'm using a gel color, just a few drops to get that vibrance. But you can also use a powder color. You might need a bit more, but as long as you have your colors nice and brilliant, then they're ready for the oven. I typically like to use this spray to grease my pans instead of using the whole grease, applying it, and the brush. I just find that easier, but you can use the other method. Put this in the oven for about 15 minutes. They didn't take too long to cook because they were divided into 3 different pans. After 15 minutes, these were ready. And while these were getting ready, I made the other batch. Repeat the same process with the second batch of butter. Mix it together, divide into 3 for 50 grams each. Oil and grease each of your pans, put them in the oven for about 15 minutes. So to incorporate the cleaning time, the cooling time, and all those things in between, this entire process took me about 2 hours. Another thing I did during this process was making the ganache. I have a ganache recipe linked down below, you can check it out. And right now I'm going to put on the screen all the ingredients and how much each of them was, so that we can come up with an estimate for the ingredients and for the frosting. Let's just take a minute to appreciate those vibrant colors. They're so pretty. I've also included the price of the ganache, and actually the white chocolate was the most expensive thing here because we used 900 grams of white chocolate, and that's about 1050 Kenya shillings, and the other ingredients were quite cheap. So once the ganache was done, you can check out that recipe down below. Then I was ready to frost the cake, and this was the most satisfying part of this all, just seeing all these colors come together. And let's just appreciate how nice the fast forward button is, because this was about, I think, 10 times speed. The actual speed of making this cake took much longer. I'd say the frosting process took about an hour to an hour 30 minutes if I include the cleaning time. And yeah, so let's just enjoy this time lapse of this cake coming together.
We've been up for way too long, but I don't wanna come down. Caught up in a long free fall, you got me off of the ground. Sway for a minute.
Once I was done with the crumb coat, I put this in the fridge for about 15 minutes to set, and once it was nice and set, I took it out and put in the second layer. Guys, this is the actual speed of how fast this goes. Before I made it like super quick to 5 or I think 7 times, and you can understand why bakers sometimes charge an arm and a leg for this, because this takes quite some time to do. So for this entire cake, I used about 5 to 6 hours. Also considering I was filming, this would have maybe taken me 4 to 5 hours if I wasn't filming. And I also factored in the electricity before I started and after, and considering the other gadgets I was using, the lights, the fridge, the TV, I think about 4 to 5 units is what I used with this, and that's about 100 Kenya shillings. And then for the water, I don't think I used more than a unit, and a unit here is like 100 shillings, so I would say 100 shillings for water as well. Now, one more thing I did is I made a small fondant plaque to be able to write the message, and I actually didn't have fondant, so I made it from scratch by microwaving some marshmallows, adding some icing sugar and some water, and then kneading this using some oil until it was nice and pliable. And then I cut out a small part of it so that I could be able to write the name and place it on top of the cake. Since the cake was going to be covered in sprinkles, there wasn't really any space for me to do the writing. For some reason, I thought that adding the sprinkles part would be the easiest part, but it was actually the messiest part. While it was fun, I did put something at the bottom of it to hold the sprinkles so that I could reuse them. On the screen right now is the total ingredient and cost price, which is coming to 2,858. So at this point, once you have that estimate, I would round it off to about 3,000 Kenya shillings. It would be up to you to decide how much your labor is worth and how much maybe your skills and your expertise is worth. And then now you come up with your final price. But at this point, this cake is done and it's looking absolutely beautiful. I love it. I loved every part of this cake. When I tell you guys, I feel like this is a masterpiece. This cake is actually so pretty, and I can't wait to cut into it so that we can be able to see all the different layers. Now that we've come here, the cake is baked. We have an estimate of the price. We're going to add the profit, and I advise you guys to do about 20% profit or more depending on who your target market is. Before I let you guys know how much I would charge for such a cake, write down below real quick how much you would pay for such a cake, considering it's about 2 kgs, different layers, and all the sprinkles on top. How much do you think would be a fair price for this cake? Personally, when I was a baker, I would charge this cake. This is about a 2 kg cake, between $40 to $50. That's about 5,000 to 6,000 Kenya shillings, depending on the flavors that they would pick or if there are any customization. So it would definitely not be $85. Probably half of that is what I would charge for such a cake. In conclusion, I really hope that this video has taught you how to make the perfect rainbow cake from start to finish, taught you how to price your cakes in case you were struggling with that, and also brought light to the scandalous Cakegate drama in case you had missed it and you live under a rock. I hope you guys found value in that video, and if you did, don't forget to like, share this video with a fellow baker or someone who likes TikTok drama and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any new recipes, and I'll see you guys on the next one.